Upgrades.
Yeah, no problem. My name is Samuel Leggett. I'm with JVS Media and Productions. How you doing today, Stephen?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. I've actually been a fan of yours. Like you, we've been a part of certain franchises I love, like The Walking Dead and Westworld, and of course Watchmen, that I really truly love. So thank you so much for this. I just real quick, what was it about Joseph as an entity that you wanted to tackle his specific story now? What was it about it that kind of captivated you? It's like, I have to tell this story.
You know, first of all, I never heard of him. That alone, in and of itself, I had never heard of him until I read the script. And I had to ask myself, how is it that I've not heard of this incredibly accomplished Black man, this virtuosic violinist, this composer of concertos and opera, this guy who was a champion equestrian marksman, fencer, someone who the American president at the time described as the most accomplished man in all of Europe. How is it that I'd never heard of him? And then I remembered that, well, there are a number of important aspects of our human story that have been either erased, forgotten, buried, ignored. Tulsa, Oklahoma, when we did Watchmen, was something that was a part of a relatively recent American history that had not really been accounted for in the history books and in the public consciousness. And it just felt like this was kind of an extension of that work of shining light on aspects of our human story that have been, ignored or buried. And then beyond that, there was a personal connection, like Joseph Bologne, the Chevalier, is from Caribbean island, Guadeloupe. I'm from Jamaica. Both of us made our way under completely different circumstances, him to France, me to England, at a very early age. And there was something about the trajectory of his life that I recognized and identified with and connected to. And felt like so much of the struggles and the challenges that he encountered in pre-revolutionary France were, minus the wigs and the costumes, were things that could be happening right now, today, here. And so there was a kind of cultural relevance to his story and a kind of contemporary aspect to his story. So all those things combined made me want to, really bring his story to the screen.
Yeah. I mean, even my history, like there are parts of like my great grandfather I have no history of outside of like military records. So I think that there's something to that that's very fascinating connection to this story. Just going right into it, the performance from Kevin. When Kevin was casted and kind of like you were kind of sculpting and sharing with him your vision for how you wanted this, what was it that you were like, okay, this is it? Like this is not only the personification of where I want Joseph as a person to be shown to the visual public, but Kevin's got this intimate connection to it. You can kind of feel it, through his performance, but I kind of want your perspective as the director.
I mean, it's a great question, man. I'm not sure, so Kelvin comes from a family of musicians. His father is a very respected musician in his own right. So I don't know whether that kind of, genetic inheritance was something that helped Kelvin and informed his approach to the role. But all I know is he intuitively understood the interiority of Joseph Bologne, of Chevalier. He just got it. And then beyond that, he was prepared to put in all the hard work to, become this virtuosic violinist that you see in the movie, because it's all him. There's no stunt doubles. There's no cinematic trickery. All that violin bowing that you see is all Kelvin. And he studied for like 6 hours a day for 6 months, leading up to the shooting of the movie, and continued during the shooting of the movie. And so, the thing that was kind of interesting is Joseph Bologne was celebrated in, the upper high society in Paris in, mid 1700s, late 1700s France, right? He was like Prince. He was like Jimi Hendrix of his day. And Kelvin kind of understood that, and his behavior, without being imitative, without, you know, being an imitation of Prince or Hendrix, nonetheless has some of that tonality and that flavor in his mannerisms and his behavior. And, you know, it really nailed that the specificity of Joseph and his vibe at that time and in the context of our movie. So yeah, Kelvin, can't say enough. He's the only actor who could have played that role.
Yeah, call you guys the dynamic duo because you guys nailed it. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited for the general public to kind of talk about this and rave about it. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Wake the town and tell the people. Thank you.
Got you.
All right,
take care.
Much. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Falling out the top of the I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind.